So I am going to be reading preparations for building the temple. Solomon gave orders to build a temple for the name of the Lord and a royal place for himself. He conscripted 70,000 men as carriers of 80,000 as stonecutters in the hills and 3,600 as foremen over them. Solomon sent this message to Hiram, king of Tyre. Send me cedar logs, as you did for my father David when you sent him cedar to build a palace to live in. Now I am about to build a temple for the name of the Lord my God and to dedicate it to him for burning fragrant incense before him, for setting out the consecrated bread regularly, and for making burnt offerings every morning and evening, and on the Sabbath, at the new moons, and at the appointed festivals of the Lord our God. This is a lasting ordinance of Israel. The temple I am going to build will be great because our God is greater than all other gods. But who is able to build a temple for him, since the heavens, even the highest heavens, cannot contain him? Who then am I to build a temple for him except as a place to burn sacrifices before him? Send me therefore a man skilled to work in gold and silver, bronze and iron, and in purple, crimson, and blue yarn, and experienced in the art of engraving, to work in Judah and Jerusalem with my skilled workers whom my father David provided. Send me also cedar, Jupiter, and algum, logs from Lebanon, for I know that your servants are skilled in cutting timber there. My servants will work with yours to provide me with plenty of lumber, because the temple I build must be large and magnificent. I will give your servants the woodsmen who cut the timber 20,000 cores of ground wheat, 20,000 cores of barley, 20,000 baths of wine, and 20,000 baths of olive oil. Hiram, king of Tyre, replied by letter to Solomon, because the Lord loves his people, he has made you their king. And Hiram added, Praise be the Lord, the God of Israel, who made heaven and earth. He has given King David a wise son, endowed with him intelligence and discernment, who will build a temple for the Lord and a palace for himself. I am sending you Hiram, Abi, a man of great skill, whose mother was from Dan and whose father was from Tyre. He is trained to work in gold and silver, bronze and iron, stone and wood, and with purple and blue, and crimson yarn and fine linen. He is experienced in all kinds of engraving and can execute any design given to him. He will work with your skilled workers and with those of my lord David, your father. Now let my lord send his servants the wheat and barley and the olive oil and wine he promised, and we will cut all the logs from Lebanon that you need, and will float them as rafts by sea down to Joppa. You can take them up to Jerusalem. Solomon took a census of all the foreigners residing in Israel. After the census his father David had taken, and they were found to be 153,600. He assigned 70,000 to them to be carriers, and 80,000 to be stonecutters in the hills, and 3,600 for men over them to keep the people working. Solomon builds the temple. Then Solomon begins to build the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem of Mount Moriah, where the Lord had appeared to his father David. It was on the threshing floor of Arana, Jebusite, the place provided by David. He began building on the second day of the second month in the 4th year of his reign. The foundation Solomon laid for building the temple of God was 60 cubits long and 20 cubits wide, fusing the cubit of the old standard. The portico at the front of the temple was 20 cubits long across the width of the building and 20 cubits high. He overlaid the inside with pure gold. He paneled the main hall with Jupiter and covered it with fine gold and decorated it with palm tree and chain designs. He adorned the temple with precious stones, and the gold he used was gold of Parvaim. He overlaid the ceiling beams, door frames, walls, and the doors of the temples with gold, and he carved cherubim on the walls. He built the most holy place, its length corresponding to the width of the temple, 20 cubits long and 20 cubits wide. He overlaid the inside with 600 talents of fine gold. The gold nails weighed 50 shekels. He also overlaid the upper part with gold. For the most holy place, he made a pair of sculpted cherubim and overlaid them with gold. The total wingspan of the cherubim was 20 cubits. One wing of the first cherub was 5 cubits long and touched the temple walls, while its other wing, also 5 cubits long, touched the wing of the other cherub. Similarly, one wing of the second cherub was 5 cubits long and touched the other temple wall, and its other wing, also 5 cubits long, touched the wing of the first cherub. The wings of these cherubim extended 20 cubits. They stood on their feet facing the main hall. He made the curtain of the blue, purple, and crimson yarn and fine linen with cherubim worked into it. For the front of the temple he made 2 pillars, which together were 35 cubits long, each with a capital 5 cubits high. He made interwoven chains and put them on top of the pillars. He also made 100 pomegranates and attached them to the chains. He erected the pillars in the front of the temple, one to the south and one to the north. The one to the south he named Lakin, and the one to the north Bowls. The temple's furnishings. He made a bronze altar 20 cubits long, 20 cubits wide, and 10 cubits high. He made the seat of the cast mantle circular in shape, measuring 10 cubits from the rim to rim and 5 cubits high. It took a line of 30 cubits to measure around it. Below the rim, figures of bulls encircled it, 10 to a cubit. The bulls were cast into rows in one piece with the sea. The sea stood on 12 bulls, 3 facing north, 3 facing west, 3 facing south, and 3 facing east. The sea rested on top of them, and their hindquarters were toward the center. It was a head breadth in thickness. A head breadth in thickness, and its rim was like the rim of a cup. Like a lily blossom, it held 3,000 baths. He then made 10,000. He then made 10 basins for washing and placed 5 on the south side of the 5 and 5 on the north. In them, the things to be used for the burnt offerings were rinsed, but the sea was to be used by the priests for washing. He made 10 gold lampstands according to the specifications for them and placed them in the temple, 5 on the south side and 5 on the north. He made 10 tables and placed them in the temple, 5 on the south side and 5 on the north. He also made 100 gold sprinkling bowls. He made the courtyard of the priests and the large court and the doors for the court and overlaid the doors with bronze. He placed the sea on the south side and the southeast corner. And Hiram also made the pots and shovels and sprinkling bowls. So Hiram finishes the work he had overtaken for King Solomon in the temple of God, the 2 pillars, the 2 bowl-shaped capitals on the top of the pillars, the 2 sets of the network decorating the 2 bowl-shaped capitals on top of the pillars, the 400 pomegranates for the 2 sets of networks, 2 rows of pomegranates for each network, decorating the bowl-shaped capitals on top of the pillars, the stands with their basins, the sea, and the 12 bowls under it, the pots and shovels, meat, forks, and all related articles. All the objects that Hiram Abi made for the King Solomon for the temple of the Lord were of polished bronze. The king had them cast in clay molds in the plain of the Jordan between Succoth and Zarethan. All these things that Solomon made amounted to so much that the weight of the bronze cannot be calculated. Solomon also made all the furnishings that were in God's temple, the golden altar, the tables on which was the bread of the presence, the lampstands of pure gold with their lamps to burn in front of the inner sanctuary as prescribed, the gold floral work in lampstands and tongs, they were solid gold, the pure gold wick trimmers, sprinkling bowls, dishes, and censers, and the gold doors of the temple, the inner doors of the most holy place, and the doors of the main hall. So that was about preparations on building the temple, furnishing the temple. With Easter coming up, I kind of get the idea of this is what craftsmanship is. This is what Easter means, you know, creating as you dip your eggs in the dye and you create all of these symbolizations of what Easter truly means and what Easter actually means. I was reading this and it just kind of, touched my heart in a moment because it's like you can sit around with nothing to do, but you can also have all these ideas of what you could do. Just keep working, just work on your mental muscles, you know, work on um just work it out in a crafty way. There was this one girl I was watching and she was making eyes. Like she had clay and she was sculpting these eyes and I guess just um features of the body because she had lips. She made lips and then she made eyes and then she she had, I found it funny though, but she had these little buttocks. So she made these buttocks as well, and she put it all on this this tray. I don't know if it was a tray or something, but she painted it all these different colors, and it was really really creative. I guess it just shows you your eyes, you know. Sometimes you sit there and you wonder, who am I? You know, what am I capable of? What is my abilities? You know, what do I see? And you won't ever find out until you put in front of you something that can reveal to you what you're seeing, and only you can do that for yourself. So it's like, grab a paintbrush, grab some clay, grab some crayons, grab some paper, grab some pencils, grab anything you can get your hands on, even if it's, you know, um, you can also grab like those little they have like bird houses and stuff like that. Like you can go to Packettans and stuff like that, and you can see all this. You can see they have these houses even at Walmart. You know, they have stuff like houses and just things that you can paint, you know, and you can grab these things and you can just see what how it turns out. There was also this one person I was watching, and they really had me inspired because they started painting. I'm like, I paint too, but it's like I never had that idea of how this person was painting. So there's so many ideas you can tap into just to figure out, you know, what is your eye? You know, what catches your eye? What does your eye see? You know, just to give you a glimpse inside yourself, like looking into your own mirror, you know. Um, so with that being said, I just wanted to reflect um, this towards Easter, as Easter is coming up. And if you don't know what to do with your time, you know, this is definitely the time where you can just seek inside yourself and start building, you know, start crafting, get back into your hobby, try to do something, not only to pass by time, but more so of getting to know yourself, you know, taking a deeper look into yourself, reflecting on the inside out and creating, because as in the Bible, we are creators. You know, this is how we're built. Craftsmanship, this is what we do. You know, recreate. So let's create, let's recreate, let's, you know, build something and be that leader for our children. You know, if anything, the first thing we can say as parents is that we are creators. And they be like, you know, why? How am I a creator? How are we creators? How are you a creator? Well, I created you, for starters.